And the best and the greatest day to be alive is today. And welcome to the Wise Hour. I'm your host, Jay Melane, also known as Wise, where we be dropping 24 karat gold bars indeed, family. I have a special guest star here that's going to give you some value information. So definitely get your pens, paper, iPads, tablets, recording device, because we're going to talk about health today. And this brother right here is going to share a story and give you some information that's going to be life-changing. So you don't want to miss on this. So you definitely want to tune in. But before we go into the show, I need you guys to subscribe, hit the like button, and definitely share. Hey, we are a community here, and more you share, more you subscribe, more this will be pushed out so other people can be inspired and empowered. Because, everybody wants some gold bars. So, family, thank everyone who definitely tuned into this show. I'm not gonna hold y'all guys. Now I know y'all guys y'all ready for this. So let's go into the show and make this happen. So let's go.
At the Wise Hour, we break through the night, bringing knowledge fire, so hold on tight. Every episode, a story to unfold. We're turning every minute into gold.
And this is the place where we be dropping 24 karat gold bars indeed. Hey, Jeff, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Good afternoon, Wise. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Doing better ever since I see you, man. Hey, family, in case you did not know, this man right here has truly have blessed my life. I've known Jeff for a long time, and he's a man of integrity and great character. And I had another friend, y'all guys know him, very familiar, Eric L. Harrison, and he always teach about the eye test. And the eye test is you see people from your eyes that you want to have an example to live by. This is one of the men that passed the eye test that you want to live by because of his character and the way he carries himself, how he does himself as a man, a husband, a father, and also a person who has been in the business market, because this man knows a whole lot of things. We're going to share that. We'll bring him back on another show for that. But, since he's here, I'm going to give him opportunity to introduce himself to the audience here. So, Jeff, let everybody know who you are.
Good afternoon. My name is Jeff Dowd. I am a resident here in the Bull City of Durham. Been here for about 26 years now. Formerly had a career in banking, which I think Wise was referring to.
Yes.
But just, thankful to be here and, try to share my story and hopefully it can help someone.
Awesome. And you definitely will. I had to bring him on, family, because we in trying times, and I think a lot of us don't understand the importance of our health or catching things or just put ourselves in position where we make sure things are taken care of. So Jeff here is going to actually share something that is very, very life-changing. And I'm going to take him back to the time. If you don't mind, Jeff, I'm going to take you back to the time when all this started. It's going to lead up to other things. So first thing I'm going to ask you, and this I'm going to call this part right here is the wake-up call. We're going to talk about the wake-up call. So what was your thoughts about your health before the doctor visit in 2016?
Well, in my opinion, my health was fine. I mean, I was, still being, somewhat active, not as active as I used to be. As far as I used to play basketball, play softball, bowl. I mean, I was doing all kind of, sports. I've been an athlete all my life, so, as far as I knew, everything was just fine. I was, didn't feel like anything was wrong with me. So yeah, I felt like I was in good shape.
That tend to be the most how we are. We feel in good shape, we're active, we're doing things, and we don't realize what's going on internally in our body. But it's one thing that I think stuck out here, and I want to ask this right here, that your wife asked something about you, and so she'll like, because only reason why we know that, because it's documented. This we hopefully have an opportunity to share this commercial that Jeff done. Jeff did this commercial with Duke Health, and actually it has showed him and his wife. And so for this commercial, he actually made reference to, hey, my wife want me to check on this. I'm fine, but my wife want me to check on it. So she nudged you on. So with this said, I'm going to ask this right here. Can you take us back to the moment when your wife scheduled that appointment, and what did you felt?
Well, the funny thing about it was I never knew. I didn't even know that she had made the appointment for me. Um, you know, it's good when you and your spouse know each other. My wife knew me well enough to know she knew that something wasn't right. Don't ask me how she knew, but she just knew something wasn't right. And so we happen to have the same primary care physician. Let me backtrack. Me and my wife, we've been married for 30 years now. And at that time, I guess it was about 20 years, maybe 21 years. But like I said, she knew me. Like I said, some things about me that I didn't even know. And so we happen to have the same primary care physician. And so she happened to call my doctor and our doctor and was just sharing some concerns with her and was like, I want him to come in, but I know if I just tell him to go in, he may not do it. So let's go ahead and schedule him an appointment, and you just have somebody from your office. They actually ended up calling me and let me know, hey, you got an appointment on such and such a day. We need you to be here at this time. So I'm like, okay. I didn't know, but I'm like, okay.
See, and that was saying you simply call, you ain't questions, like, you know what, I got a call, that's us, man. Okay, we got a call. Okay, I'll be there. since it is scheduled. And the thing is, like you said, you didn't know, but she knew you well enough, and she just knew something was not right internally from what her standpoint of being, being your helpmeet in with your spouse and your wife, and knowing, you know what, he's not going to do it, so I'm going to do it for him and make sure that you and she knew you well enough that you wasn't going to turn down the appointment once you got the phone call. So
Yeah.
and the thing is, and you went ahead and you took the appointment. So after you took the appointment, there was a result there. And so the next thing is, because I want to give people a little history and stuff like that, because like you said, you didn't know, everything was good. Recap: I was playing sports, I was doing this, my day activity, I thought was good. My wife noticed something that was different, so she went ahead and set an appointment. So I went to this appointment. So, what was your first reaction when you heard that your PSA levels was elevated?
Well, at that time, I really didn't know that much about a PSA level. I didn't even really know anything about a prostate. I had never, looked into it, never even thought about it again. Like I said, as far as I was concerned, my health was good. I wasn't thinking about nothing like that. But it's, when I went in for the appointment, and my doctor ended up calling me a couple of days later saying that my PSA level was at a 4.2. And she was like, in her opinion, she said that 4.0 was kind of like the benchmark, and so anything above that, she wanted me to go and just get tested, just to kind of be on the safe side. So she's the one that suggested I go and have a biopsy done, which I did that. Again, I still didn't know that much about PSA and the scores and what all that stuff meant. But so I went and had the biopsy done, and I was told that they took 12 samples, and then it was like 3 of the 12 came back positive. I got that call. I went to my doctor in September 2016. I got a call December. It's actually
Wow.
the day before Christmas. I got the call from my doctor telling me that
Oh,
three of the 12 samples came back positive, and that meant that I did have prostate cancer.
oh, wow. Okay. So this side note, this is the day before, you said the day before Christmas.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
with family, with everybody there, and what I'm saying, you got two, you have a very beautiful family. I believe one son and 2 daughters, if I
Yes.
ain't mistaken. You can correct me wrong. And now the day before Christmas, and you got that news, how did you really felt? And then did you immediately share it with the family, or how we approach? How do you feel at that moment, and when do you let everybody know what was going on?
Well, when I got the call, I was actually home alone. My wife and
Okay.
one of my daughters were in the car. They were headed out of town, and the other daughter was in Greensboro, but and my son lives in Maryland. So at the time, I was home alone. But when I got the call before the doctor even said anything to me about any test results or whatever, I actually asked him to hold on a minute, and I called. I did a conference call, got my wife on the call because I wanted her to hear on the results
Okay.
when I heard it. So
Good.
there's no surprises about anything. So
Wow. Good.
when I called her, she told me she actually ended up, she pulled off the side of the road. She pulled off it so she could listen, and really pay attention to what the doctor was saying. So, yeah, we both found out at the same time.
Wow. Okay, both y'all found at the same time. Wow. And interesting conversation. She didn't come back. She said, "I knew it. I knew it. I knew it." She
No,
didn't
no,
come
no, no,
back
no,
like
no,
that.
no, no,
No,
no.
I know how she
Her
is.
only
I know.
thing was she asked me was, "Am I all right?" That was her.
There you go.
She was thinking about me. She just asked me, "Are you all right? Do I need to turn around and come back?"
Leaders don't wait for change, they create it. Champions don't walk alone, they stand together in faith in this great collaboration. This is your invitation to the Leaders Live Generously Prayer Breakfast of Champions, a gathering of visionaries, believers, and world changers. Where? I'm telling you, 32747 Grand Traverse, August 30th, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. It will be a morning of revelation, restoration, and renewed strength. Isaiah 40:31 says, "But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They'll mount up with wings as eagles." You know it's your time to soar. I need you to come expecting divine encounters, prophetic impartation, kingdom connections that will shift your life forever. Don't miss this moment with destiny, because when leaders pray, heavens move. I want to see you there. Click now on the link. This is Dr. Prophet Anthony Shannon signing out. I'll see you in the place.
Awesome. See, and that's the thing about it. That was saying, when you have a very supportive spouse, and in the communication line, he said two critical things there. I didn't want to be surprised, even though she was traveling. I want her to be a part of this call. So she was a part of the call, and she heard it. And the next statement after that is, "Are you okay?" And that's what's in the insurance is, I'm caring about you. I always want to make sure you good. And that I know that moment you had to felt, you didn't felt alone, even though you're in the house alone. You did not felt alone because you
Yeah,
had somebody with you. So
yeah.
that's a beautiful thing about it. So with that being said, Jeff, what changed? Did that immediately change the switch in your head about what you're dealing with your health? We're gonna go into the process stage and the I guess the flow and the process in a moment. But at that moment, did a light bulb go off, or what did as far as, oh wow, I need to do something immediately, or was you just calm and stuff? I just like to know your approach to it at that moment.
Well, I mean, after that, first thing I start now, I want to start looking up everything I can find out about, prostate, and prostate cancer. I'm online Googling, trying to find everything I can to learn about it now. Once I got past the why me kind of, part of it, when you just find that out, why me. I mean, I've got three older brothers that none of them had ever been diagnosed with it. My father was never diagnosed with it, and so I'm the youngest one. And so, like I said, I'd always been an athlete, didn't smoke, didn't drink, didn't do drugs. And so, again, the first thing was this, why me? you know
Mhm.
but then after that, like I said, I start trying to find out all the information I could about it. And then later on, that why me kind of turned to, well, if this could happen to me and I didn't know anything about it, how many other men are out here that don't really know anything about prostate or prostate cancer, don't know anything about PSA level, that could be affected, and they just don't know. So then it turned into kind of a, I don't want to say mission, but ministry of
Ooh, okay.
trying to educate other men about, making sure you get your annual physical done, make sure that you're getting your PSA level checked, making sure you have a good relationship with your primary care physician. Um, because, see, the thing that I did not know was my primary care physician had been tracking my PSA level for about the past 10, 12 years.
Oh,
So,
wow. Okay.
yeah. And so she was monitoring it. And so as it, she told me it was, over time, it was slowly but surely going up. It might, like, go up one year and come down a little bit, go up, but the overall trend was steady going up. And so
Okay.
that's why when it got to over 4, that's when she suggested having a biopsy done. So I would definitely encourage everyone listening, male or female, to, if you have a primary care physician that you like, try to hold on to them, and keep that, try to get to know them and develop that long-term relationship, because again, I had no idea that she was monitoring me all that time.
Oh, wow. Wow. And that's a good point, good tip, and great suggestion. And find a primary physician who's going to do the effort to monitor you and keep you and the- have your interest, have your best interest as far as monitoring and stuff. Like you say, you wasn't thinking about it, Jeff, but your position was keeping up with the records, and when they noticed something was off, they're able to address it immediately. And I love that approach, and I love that, like you said, you kept the relationship there. So we need to definitely find people in our lives as far as positions that you, like you say, if you have one that you trust and you build a relationship with, and you say just somebody you just go to, but you have built a relationship with, that you can trust the input this person says. With that being said, I want to approach this point where I call it the turning point. And and you chose a unique way to handle this. You initially you chose we call active monitoring. Can you explain to people what active monitoring is and what made you go to lean to that decision at first?
Yeah. Let me just say one thing first, though, for every man that's
Yeah.
listening. If you have a primary care doctor who, when you ask them to have your PSA level checked, you want to make sure when you get your annual physical, you want to have your PSA level checked. And if they don't want to do that, if they're reluctant to do that, you need to get you a new primary care physician.
Ooh, okay. Fast. 24 karat gold bars dropped indeed. Straight
So,
and
but
simple.
my surgeon, the way he talked to me about it once, he told me, I was positive, and I went in to see him. He told me that because of, based on my age, I was still, in my early 50s. And he just said he did not feel like radiation or therapy was an option for me. So the other two options that he told me about was either to have the surgery done to have the prostate removed, or what they call active monitoring, which is where you come in, say, every 3 to 6 months. They will do the biopsies again, and just to see if the number of results, the cancer tests come back like it's growing, it's spreading. You can also have MRIs done that will help them see whether or not is the cancer spreading.
Mm,
um, and in some cases you might do that. If that's what you choose, you might be doing that for years. I mean, the thing about it is, I think something like that could potentially wear on someone's mental aspect of it, their mental health, knowing
okay.
that you've got something inside of you that is not good, and not sure whether or not, is it growing, is it getting worse, having to go through getting a biopsy done every, like I said, 3 to 6 months, which, I mean, is not a pleasant uh, procedure to go through when they're snipping little bits, test samples off of the prostate, it's not a something that I would suggest going through every 3 to 6 months. But that's an option you have. So that's active monitoring. They just keep watch over you over time.
Okay. I
And
did not know that. So you said something. I don't mean to cut your wisdom. You said something. So with the active monitoring, they still had to do biopsies. You said 3 to 6 months. They can do that every 3 to 6 months within there. And my
yeah, I mean,
understanding is, go ahead. Yes, sir. Go
yeah, I
ahead.
mean that's how they gotta find out if the cancer is spreading. Between that and an MRI, that's how they find out if it's spreading. So hey, like I said, if that's your choice, then just know this is the road you're headed down.
Okay. So with that being said, did you take the option of? I know you said you got to do radiation and you can do surgery to remove portions of it. Did you decided to do it later on, or you just I don't? Did you stay with the monitor the whole time, or did you decide to go ahead and go into do a surgery or something?
Yeah. Um, I know I'm sure you probably heard the term now. Some people use life be lifing.
Life,
Well,
yes, yes,
life was lifing on me because when they talk to you about some of the potential side effects of having the surgery, as a young man, kind of like, okay, let's hold off on that. Let's do the active monitoring first, and not have to deal with those side effects. And so that was my initial thought. But the only thing I can say wise is that God knew what was going on with me, and He knew what was coming at me,
mm,
because he knew my thought was to do the active monitoring, to wait. But He also knew what 3 months after I found out I had it, I got laid off from my job.
wow,
And so with that thought of being out of work and knowing that I have this cancer, knowing how long it can take to find a new job and get health insurance again, you
facts.
know, that kind of uh, changed my decision from monitoring to, while I still had insurance in place, health insurance in place, let's go ahead and do the surgery.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. I love the way you approach that because we forget the importance of having health insurance because these procedures and stuff are not cheap. And like you
Yeah.
said, I like the way you say it. Life be life, and that's the terminology we use a lot. Life be life, and things happen in your life, and you being letting go for your job. That put like, oh, okay, I need to make a decision. I have insurance right here that can take care of this, or I can take a chance of trying to find another job, and like you said, finding that and have the health insurance in place to pay for that take time. And so, like you said, God already knew the pathway. God said, you know what? Let me shift this up a little bit.
Yeah,
And
I
you'll
think
just
that was his way
change.
of nudging me, I believe. I think that was his way of nudging me and saying, "Hey,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
don't
Go ahead and
rush.
make that thing happen.
Yeah, don't wait. Go ahead and get this done."
No, hey, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did because you had came a pillar of hope and an inspiration as you aspire and let other especially I know you help you pushing forward with men, but actually all people to make sure they're taking care of their health and make sure you monitor because like you said, is it can happen to you who is an athlete who really take care of yourself. You eat right. You do the good things. I know your what you call your routines and I would say habits, and they are pretty good. And you still got diagnosed with something like this. So like I said, God knew who He picked because you are a great messenger of hope and inspiring people to move forward and taking care of the business. You're a straight shooter. I like that about you because you're a straight shooter too. Because you tell it like it is but you know how to do it in a way that will edify, not letting people down, but edifying them as well. So not
Yeah,
everybody has that gift.
yeah, God, he knew He had work for me to do. So
Yeah.
I think this was his way of pushing me into that.
Yeah, and since you said that, I want to ask you this: how did faith and your family play a role in this season in your life?
Well, my immediate family, my wife, my children, my siblings, everyone was as supportive as they could be. I mean, um, anytime I had a doctor's appointment, my wife was there with me. If by some chance she could not be there, I always had her on the phone videoing, so she could see and hear everything that was going on. She wanted to be a part of all of it, and my kids kept close contact with me. Again, everybody just wanted to make sure that I was okay, and not just my immediate blood family, but even my church family. At that time, I had a number of people from my church who continued to check on me, and when I actually had the surgery, they they took up the majority of the waiting room out there, because I had a lot of them that came there and waited until the procedure was over just to keep a check on me and see how things were going. So all of that played, just I can't say how instrumental that was in helping me get through that and with my whole recovery.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I love the support of a community. Yes, you have your amazing, wonderful, beautiful wife. You have your amazing kids. But when the community of faith believers come together and pack up a weight room, waiting room packed up and stuff, and was not willing to waver, they want to make sure. First of all, I know they're a praying group. Second of all, they waited until everything was over with. That what you call love and respect, because they respect the God in you and the man who you are. You know what I'm saying? So that's awesome to hear that. And I want to ask this right here. Now, looking back, what was the true blessing in disguise?
You are watching The Wise Hour with J. Melane Wise.
You are watching The Wise Hour with J. Melane Wise.
You're watching The Wise Hour with J. Melane Wise.
You're listening to The Wise Hour with Jay Wise. Have you not subscribed? Have you not told somebody else? Are we not commenting? We're on The Wise Hour. What we doing?
I think the true blessing in disguise was the fact that even though they told me initially when I was diagnosed, they told me it was what they called low risk, low grade.
Okay.
Meaning that it hasn't, from what they could see, it hadn't spread far. Prostate cancer is typically viewed as a slow growing disease. Prostate cancer is called a disease of aging. My primary care physician, or not my primary care, but my surgeon, he actually told me that as a man, if you live long enough, you will get prostate cancer.
Oh, wow.
So it is a disease of aging. But so when they told me, though, initially it was low risk, low grade. Okay, so that also kind of initially had me thinking, okay, active monitoring. When they say low risk, low grade, I was thinking about that. But as it turns out, mine wasn't.
Okay.
From when I was diagnosed at a 4.2 in September to the time I had the surgery in March of the next year, it went from a 4.2 to about a 5.78. And my wife told me later on that the day of the surgery, her somehow or another, her and my daughter was actually saw the surgeon and was talking with him, and what they were able to see, I'm not sure if it was an X-ray or an MRI printout or whatever, but they were looking in my, I think she said my daughter looked at it and asked the doctor, "What is that?" And what they saw was, my wife described it almost like a box around my prostate, but it looked like the cancer was starting to spread up toward my bladder.
Oh.
And so even though they initially said low risk, low grade, slow growing, that turned out to not be the case for me. And so if I had waited, who knows, it may have metastasized to my bladder or worse. So again, God had a plan. He had, work for me to do. And, I think that was the blessing, in that it was caught in time. Again, even though, initially man thought it was low risk, low grade, slow growing, God knew it was something else. And again, he pushed me in that direction of, hey, you need to go ahead and have this surgery done and get that out of you.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. And like I said, it being intentional and being on purpose, and your faith mean a lot. And I'm glad that you, again, I would say that I'm glad you went ahead and made that move. Like you said, life be life in situation, and you still could have been stubborn about it and say, you know what, I can hold off. There's no opportunity. I can still monitor, because nobody wants to do surgery. Think about it. And that's why you chose the monitoring standpoint. But when, like you said, when when the grease was in that frying pan, it was time to go ahead and get that thing laid and battered. Fried. He went ahead and get that thing fried on up. So that's a Southern term, people. Just in case y'all didn't know, the Southern term. So I'm a Southern boy. You know what I'm saying? Oh, we shifting from the fried stuff. So we're talking about cancer. We all talk about peel a nice banana or some fruit, apple or something like that. So excuse me. With that, hey, what I'm saying, hey, bring me on T-Dub barbecue. But with that being said, brother, I want to shift into the purpose. And so now, since you are cancer free, what drive you more to do the work or passing on the message?
Well, it's as I mentioned earlier, I ended up asking myself, if this could happen to me, how many other men out here, especially men of color, that could be in the same situation and not know? Again, like I said, because I was always healthy, I never bothered to learn about a prostate or prostate cancer. So the fact that, again, I was like, how many other men might be out here that could be in the same situation but don't know? And so that's what, drove me to want to start being an advocate, to share information with men and try to make sure that they are getting their annual physical done, first of all, but then also making sure they're getting their PSA level checked. Because, even though they talk about, men not getting their PSA till they were, until you're in like maybe your late 40s, early 50s, there are different risk factors. And depending on the risk factor, you may have to start earlier. For example, we as Black men, we are higher risk. So that's one thing. But also, if you've had not only someone in your family who's had prostate cancer, but any type of cancer, if you've had someone in your immediate family or close family that has had any type of cancer, that puts you at a higher risk. So you may want to start asking your primary care physician, hey, start checking my PSA level when you're 42. Don't necessarily wait, because the averages that they talk about are primarily based on white men, because those are the ones that they get to, that were willing to come in and do, tests, clinical trials, all those kind of things. They do that. So when you got your vast majority of men being tested are white men, and so theirs is not as high risk as us, then yeah, they're going to tell you, 49, 50, 52, something like that. But again, I would highly encourage you, again, if you've got anyone in your family who's had any type of cancer, to start early. Start early.
Awesome. They start early. My next question is going to be and I hope I can ask this one just right so it can be flow. It can flow. What are some, I guess you'd say, some general first start steps we need to do to work towards maintaining our health?
Well, like I said, the first thing is getting your annual physical. Make sure you're getting your annual physical done. Make sure your primary care physician is, testing you for the proper things. I mean, as we age, of course, we start getting susceptible to more things, So, as you're getting older, you want to make sure they're testing for more things. You may want to, have them check your, do the colonoscopy or endoscopy or, checking for other, types of illnesses, cancers, as you start to get older. So, plus the next thing is, trying to make sure you're eating properly, making sure you're exercising. That is one of the most important things, making sure you're exercising, making sure you're drinking plenty of water. Those kind of things are all very important as it relates to, your health and staying healthy.
Thank you. That 24 karat gold bars dropped indeed. So y'all guys make sure, because I know you already put in your notepads, your iPads, your tablets and stuff like that. Make sure, especially, get your checkup. You haven't scheduled, go ahead and make a phone call, schedule your appointment with your primary physician, and make sure you get your levels checked and get an understanding of what your levels are. Do the research. I love the way what Jeff said earlier. He said when he found out, he said after he got with the shark, everything, he started Googling. He started doing the research. He want to get understanding himself of what's going on. So when the doctor come back and give you information, you have an idea of what's going on, especially with your own body. So, we in the days of information, the days of technology. So things can be searched. Of course, you want to vet the stuff if you're using AI, anything like ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, or whatever your large language model you try to use and for your information. You want to invest it. But at the same time, we are in the information age. It's much easier to get information and ways you can go and do things too. And guess what? You got a person like Jeff that knows who's going there. He's an advocate for this, that you can touch base with as well on that matter. Do you have something else you want to add, brother?
Well, I was going to say that's one thing that I think as men, and even Black men, that we don't talk with each other about things like this. We don't share information like this with others, and I think that could be very helpful. Even though your experience may not be exactly like mine, but I think just being able to talk to someone and getting an idea of, this is what I dealt with, this is what I went through, I think can be helpful. But again, we've got to be willing. You got to be willing to open up to a certain degree and be willing to talk to other men about what's going on with you. I mean, it was later on I found out that there were several men in my church at that time that had prostate cancer that I never knew, but because we don't talk to each other.
Wow. That's amazing. Even in the community of the church, like you said, nobody was talking to one another. Nobody knew about it. Nobody knew the situation somebody else went through and stuff like that. So communication is key, especially for us men. And we're gonna bring it back and focus to a little bit to even Black men. That hey, sometimes we get that chip or that pride on the shoulder, but you don't know who's the next man out there who is going through, and you don't communicate it so they know how to move forward. I love the way you say go to the doctor. Go ahead and get your PSA levels tested. If they're not doing that, then go find somebody who is doing it. So you're straightforward. Don't be panicking with this, because your health is your wealth. Your health is your wealth.
A couple of statistics for you, Wise.
Yes, sir.
They estimate that in this year, 2025, over 370,000 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Wow.
Out of that, they estimate over 35,000 will die from prostate cancer.
Wow.
I saw where someplace was said that every 15 minutes, someone dies from prostate cancer.
Wow.
Every 15 minutes. You know, one in 8 Caucasian men are diagnosed. 1 in 6 Black men are diagnosed.
Wow.
1 in 6. And I'm gonna tell you something else I found out. 1 in 5 veterans are diagnosed with prostate cancer. 1 in 5 veterans.
Wow.
And when
Wow.
they're not exactly sure why. You know, it maybe it's with some of the older vets that maybe, you know, were Vietnam, or, you know, because of some of the different vaccines and stuff they give them if they're having to go to places where, you know, there are known diseases, this kind of thing. And you know, don't know if that makes them more susceptible or not. But you know, these are some startling statistics when you start thinking about every 15 minutes someone dies from prostate cancer.
Wow. Wow. I did not know that facts, and wow. Wow. Thank you for sharing that. And bring reality. Every 15 minutes, that's nothing. Every 15 minutes, a person died from prostate cancer. And you know what? It's something that we can check. It's something we can take care of. It's something we can address. And the thing is, like you said, go to your physician, do your annual checkup, make sure there's records all taken, make sure you have a great relationship with that, and be attentional about your health, because nothing's guaranteed. You started with, like you said, you're being an athlete, you eat right, you live right, you know, yes, life be life, but you have a loving household and support, and it happened to you.
Yeah.
And so we're thankful for you sharing that. I want to say this. If it's since we're gonna wrap up the show, if people want to know more about this and get more information from about this, dealing with prostate cancer or any other things, Jeff, how can they get in contact with you?
Well, I don't know so much about getting in touch with me, but one of the organizations that I do volunteer work with is called Zero Prostate Cancer.
Oh,
Zero
okay.
Prostate Cancer has a wealth of information on their website, you know, from, you know, some of the symptoms. You know, they have some specific information as it relates to Black men. They even offer, in some cases, financial assistance for, you know, someone if they're needing to, you know, having to get back and forth to the doctor or these kinds of things. So they have a wealth of information and resources on their website, and there are others too. I know there's I think it's the Prostate Cancer Foundation, I believe is the name of it. But there are some other places, but Zero Prostate is the one that I've been volunteering and doing some work with for the past several years.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And so I will make sure that information is in the description just below the like button, family. So make sure you press that like button and subscribe and share out this, because Jeff gave some amazing information. Jeff, when we come to health and dealing with cancer and stuff, I do not want you to be a stranger on the Wise Hour. I'd love to have you coming back to actually talk about more about it, because I know other folks still have questions about it. So I would love to have you back as a guest again, be able to share your insight and some knowledge about that. So I appreciate
I would be happy to. I would be happy to. Wise, you know, like you said, you and I go back a long ways, and you know, the next time that I come, maybe I can have my wife with me, because you know, as I go to different places and talk about, you know, my story and try to advocate for men to get themselves checked, my wife will sometimes go with me, and she talks about things from the caregiver's perspective, which you know is very important as well, because you know, if you are married, you know, have your significant other, if you are diagnosed with it, you're not the only one going through that ordeal. You're not the one dealing with the cancer. That spouse is dealing with it too. So she talks to people about things from the wife, the caregiver's perspective, which I think is very important as well.
Awesome. 24 karat gold bars dropping D. That's a bet. You definitely be back on, because I love to have your amazing wife on here, and y'all guys can work together and tag team and provide some more information. So, Jeff, thank you again for taking time out of your productive schedule to be on the Wise Hour, and looking forward to having you and your wife again on the show. And hey, and trust me, it won't be a long time. We'll be trying to bring you back on here soon to be able to talk more about it. So thank you so much, sir.
No, thank you, Wise, for all that you do. Thank you.
Was that 24 karat gold bars dropped indeed? Did Jeff gave you some valuable information talking about health and how to move forward with it? Because guess what? He had a journey. Life was life and stuff, but God had a plan for him. And even though it wasn't his plan, God had a plan, and he's an advocate out here informing people about taking care of their health. So, like I said, I'm so thankful for him, and I'm looking forward to have him and his wife on here so we can talk more about this and open the communication lines. All right, family. I want to thank everybody who came to the show today. Hey, if you want to support this channel, hey, I have a merch line. You can go to the link right here, and you can go ahead and purchase some t-shirt, wear a t-shirt, the 24 karat gold bars t-shirt, understand where you are, those t-shirts, and we can be updating our merch real soon. But definitely check out the merch if you want to support this channel. All right, family, love is a action word. While you're taking the time to love yourself, make sure you show love to someone else. And we thank you for being on the Wise Hour. Looking forward to seeing y'all guys again. So take care and peace.
Walking down this lonely road, heart heavy like a stone. Whispers in the night air tell me I'm not alone. Shadows try to hide the light, but love shines so bright. Even in the darkest times, it will be my guide. Love will always find you. Love never fails. Through the highs and lows, love prevails. Love will always find you. Love never fails. In your heart and soul, love will prevail. Days may come and fade. Feel the beating of my heart. Close your eyes and feel it too. Love is never far apart. When the world is cold and gray and you can't find your way, just remember what I say. Love is here to stay. Love will always find you. Love